Okay, good morning. Today is Friday, the 9th day of Shevat. And tonight, of course, Shabbos Kodesh is going to be the special day, the holy day of Yud Shvat, the 10th day of Shvat. It is the Yortzeit of the Frierdiker Rebbe. And it is the day that the Rebbe assumed his leadership of Am Yisrael and the Chabad movement. And we're going to have the special celebrations on the shul. We're going to have also Saturday night a special program here on the same Zoom station. A very interesting program, Precious Souls. So look, Saturday, that's going to be tomorrow night, 8 p.m. B'ezrat Hashem. Please share the word. Today we're fortunate to have Shlomo with us.
Hello.
Shalom Shlomo. And so let's get started. And we're beginning today chapter 22 in the Tanya. Now in chapter where the Alter Rebbe continues what he explained in the last few chapters, explaining how it is easy for a Jew to get connected to Hashem in every aspect, to get connected with spiritually, with Torah and mitzvahs. And in order to do this, he explained that the one way is the way of thinking about, meditating about the greatness of Hashem and so on, and developing love and fear of Hashem. But this is something that not everyone is capable of doing. So the Alter Rebbe explained that there is a second approach, an easier approach, and that is by revealing the innermost chachma, the wisdom, which is in the wisdom of a Jew. There is the spark of the neshama of a Jew. And when you realize this is something which is beyond logic, it is something which is connected in every single Jew, and every Jew is connected to Hashem, whether he understands it or not. Because a Jew by nature cannot be separated from God. However, this is true when you feel separated from Hashem. If, let's say, if somebody tries to force you to worship an idol, absolutely not. You know, this is going to disconnect you, going to separate you from Hashem. However, what about the rest of the mitzvahs? There's so many details, so many mitzvahs, so many commandments. So, okay, so we say one big deal. What's the big deal if I do a small thing? It's not going to affect my relationship. And the Rebbe explained that really every single mitzvah, all the mitzvahs are connected with the first two commandments, which is about idol worship. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am God, your God. Lo yeh lecha elokim acherim, do not have any other God outside of me. So I am God, your God is the source of all the positive commandments, and do not have any other gods. He's the source of all the negative commandments. Why? What's the connection? What's the connection of his one simple commandment to idol worship? So the Alter Rebbe went in length to explain that really everything, the whole world, what does it mean that there is Hashem, there is one God, believe in one God? It's not that there is no other God. It is like there's nothing else outside of Hashem. Everything in his world is God. To understand this, the Alter Rebbe gave the example of speech. Just like by human speech, there is two elements of speech. Speech is something that gives outside, separates something from you to the outside, something that was inside you. You want to communicate to someone else. And speech is also revealing what is in you. But yesterday we said that really, when we're talking about Hashem, when we're talking about God, only one element of speech can be true. And that is the concept of revelation. Hashem reveals himself. But the other element, which is separation, cannot be applied to divine speech. Because how can you separate from Hashem? Everything is God. Wherever you go, everything is Hashem. So that's what we said yesterday. But today's Tanya, today's chapter in 22, the Alter Rebbe says, at the end of the day, if the Torah uses this term, speech, that means that there must be something from the second element also in God's speech, and that is the concept of separation must also be in God's speech. Where is it? The Alter Rebbe is going to explain that the separation is in our perspective. That in our perspective, we feel ourselves as separated from Hashem. And the reason why is because the way we were created was through a process called tzimtzumim, which means contractions, all types of contractions and filtering and removing his light, to the point that they can be created not only something which is outside of Hashem, but also something which negates God, something that goes against God. So let's see it inside. רק שזה אלתר רבי שהתורה דיברו כלשון בני אדם. The Torah employs human language. ונקרא בתורה דיבורוי של מוקרים ברוך הוא בשם דיבור ממש כדיבורוי של אדם. In the Torah, it is referred to, when we're talking about God creating the world with speech, it uses the word dibur, God's dibur, speech, literally speech, like speech of human beings. Why? לפי שבאמס, כך הוא דרך ירידס והמשוחס החיוס לתחתוי. Because in truth, it is so by way of the descent and flow of the life force to the lower planes. And Hashem to bring down the life force to the lower worlds, it is done in that way, in the form of speech. Betzimtzumim rabim, how is it done? Betzimtzumim rabim. Ve'atzumim, the descent is accomplished through many powerful contractions. Minim shoinim. And the contractions, they come from various kinds of contractions. What does it mean, various kinds of contractions? Just like there is contraction, that's something that you make it smaller. You want to make it smaller, you reduce the amount. Or sometimes you put a curtain to the light, so the light outside a curtain is not the same. And there's sometimes a contraction that is God removes his light completely and bringing a whole new level of different light instead. So there's different types of contractions that comes from Hashem for God to create this world. Liboris mehem bruim rabim, so that various kind of a creation should be creatures should be created. Minim shonim, of various kinds of creatures. Indeed, this says the Alter Rebbe, the contraction is so great and powerful. It is the concealment of the supernal continents, meaning the deeper aspect of divine life force is heavily veiled. Hashem conceals it. And he conceals it so much That even the unclean things, the klippes, the shells which cover godliness, and the sitra acher comes from the other side, the not pure side, they can come into being and be created. And they receive their life force and their existence from the divine words and from the spirit and the breath of his mouth. Behest upon him, however, they receive it behest upon him, with concealment of his countenance, ve'yerida samadreges, and through the downward gradation. Now that Rebbe explains, this is in the second commandment. It says, "Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai." You should not have any other gods on my face. What does it mean, other gods? Normally, when you read this verse, other gods means gods which is not the true God. Here, the Alter Rebbe comes and gives us a new interpretation of what it means, other gods. Says the Alter Rebbe that the word acherim, which means other, comes from the word achoraim. Achoraim means the back part. So he says, when we're talking about the Elokim acherim, they are those elements in this world that they receive their sustenance from Hashem, like someone who gives something from the back. Meaning, when you want to give something to something, when you want to do something that you like, that you enjoy, you give from the front, you give from the inside, the face. The face called panim. Panim also means panim, which means inward, because in the face you see the inside. So when you give something to someone that you like, that you want to give, this is your true will, you give it. But when you give something that you have no choice but to give, but you don't really want to give, then you give it like from the back. And here's Alter Rebbe explains that these elements in this world, the evil, the impurities of this world that exist in this world, God brought them into this world for a reason, in order for us to have free choice, as he will soon explain. But so that's why Hashem gives it sustenance to be able to exist. But it's called achoraim because Hashem gives it. It's not the real thing what Hashem wants. It is there to make us stronger, to give us challenges, to make us stronger, so that we can grow from this. So let's continue inside. Says the Alter Rebbe, this is the reason the klippos are called Elohim acherim, other gods, mipnei sheini katam v'chayusam eina mebchinas panim elo mebchinas achoraim v'kedusha. For their nurture and vitality, which they draw from the realm of holiness, since every existing being draws its life force from holiness. So this does not derive from the countenance, meaning the inner aspect of the divine will, but from the achoraim, the hinder part of holiness, meaning the external, superficial aspect of the divine will. That's not really what Hashem wants. It's like you're going to work. You want to go to work? No, you don't want to go to work. Some people like the job and they enjoy it, but some people just go there because they have to have the money. So what is the real will? The will is to get the salary, not to work. Do you want to really have the money? That's not the really thing. The money is not the object, the thing that you really want. You want what you can do with the money. And so on. So that Rebbe continues. So Pirush Acharayim, Adam Anoisein Davar Lesainoi Shaloi Birtzainoi. And the meaning of Acharayim, the hinder part, is like a person who gives to somebody that he hates, not with his will. He throws him over his shoulder, while he turns his face away from him out of his hatred for him. Says the Rebbe Kach Lemaila, the same thing as above. The term countenance, panim, represents the inner quality of the supernal will. And his true desire. What is the true desire of Hashem? Hashem le'ashpia chayus lechol hakorov elav. Misitra dekdusha. That Hashem desires to dispense life to all who belong to the realm of holiness, who are close to Him. But the sitra achra, the unholiness, the impurity, the abominations, this is the abomination before God, which He hates. He does not give life from the inner will, that he truly desires this, heaven forbid. It is but in a manner of one who unwillingly throws something over his shoulder to his enemy. And what is the purpose why do they exist here? It is merely to punish the wicked, to subjugate themselves to the klipis and derive their power from them, and to grant a rich reward to the righteous who subdue the sitra achra, the evil side. This is called the hinder part of the supernal will, the achoraim, the hinder part. Why does God do this? To punish Hashem, to punish the wicked? The truth of the matter is, everything what Hashem created is for a good reason, even the other side, but it is in order that Hashem to be able to do teshuvah. The concept of punishment is a concept of refining. The refining the other side to be able to elevate itself. And this is perfect with connected with today, huge Shevat as we get into tonight, celebrating this special day, where in the first Maimah the Rebbe explains that this is the purpose of the creation of this world, that Hashem created this world for us to come and battle this evil inclination, subjugate the world, and use all the good tools that God gave us in this physical world. That God gave us such tools and such energy. The passion that the evil has, that the other side has, is a tremendous passion and tremendous power. If we only take this and use it and transform it, first subjugate it and then transform it using this same energy to do positive things, oh, what a good world will we have. That is the end of today's shir. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you, Be'ezrat Hashem. Don't forget, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, we have this great Farbrengen about Yud Shvat, and it promises to be very interesting. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Please share and subscribe and like and comment. All the best. Any questions? We can take now questions.